Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, your number one stop for all things in the world of golf. Watch and subscribe anywhere you get your favorite shows on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, and more. Just search Get in the Hole. Get in the Hole is the official golf pod of the Underground Sports Philadelphia family of podcasts. Now let's get right into the action. Here's your hosts, Steve McAvoy and Ben Pirro.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Jake, I had an idea. When you think about the next 2 months of golf, which probably, when you think about it, is probably the best 2-month string of golf that we're going to get all year. I mean, it is every year. But when naming these tournaments, the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, the Waste Management Phoenix Open, the AT&T Byron Nelson at Campo Rancho Cucamonga, the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, the Sanderson's Farm Invitational at whatever golf course you go to. If you were to paraphrase each thing, the Waste Management would be the best one because you would just call it the Waste. Which sounds which makes total sense too, because we're going to have 750,000 people stepping foot in Scottsdale, Arizona, for the weekend and the same night as the Super Bowl. You want to talk about the biggest party in sports? Sorry, biggest party in golf? Now it's the biggest party in sports. You have a 4-day fucking bender. I want to know the people who have tickets to the Super Bowl and have tickets to sit in the 16th stadium hole. That's probably the best 4 days of your life, and probably so much abysmal money to be thrown around. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's gonna be absolutely wild. Either the Waste or the Wasted, but it's gonna get real bad in Arizona. There's gonna be some sloppy guys on 16. We see a hole in one, they're gonna be throwing out everything. We might see a baby on the green getting thrown out there. It's gonna be absolutely insane.
Yeah, if Sam Ryder has taught us anything about pro golf on the 16th, it's that you will see some ridiculous stuff. Think about it. In the last year alone, we saw beer getting thrown on a golf course. Think of the optics of that. It's 1981. I go back in time and I go, hey, in 35 years, some no-name guy in joggers is going to hit a hole-in-one, and the stadium will throw beer at them. Jack Nicklaus would look at me cockeyed and say, "The fuck is wrong with you?"
Or you're gonna have a big guy taking off his shirt and running around on the green.
Arnold Palmer would have a heart attack. It's like the TikTok of like things that would send Victorian moms into a coma, Victorian children into a coma. Thank you, Kay.
Yes.
My girlfriend's next to me correcting my TikTok mistakes. It's like that, but things that would put old timey golfers into a coma. And honestly, that would be number one.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up what a ticket costs to sit in.
Sit
on the 16th hole.
All right, that I don't know. Fascinatingly enough, though, tickets to golf events really aren't a lot of money. I'm looking right now, currently with some friends to go down to the Players. It's $90 for a day, which really isn't that bad considering you get to go for an entire day. And it's the Players. I can go sit at 17 the entire day if I wanted to.
Ticket only $48 for general admission. That's
really
crazy. That's gonna bring out some wildness.
Well, hold on. Well, wait. What day is that? Oh my God! Wait, yeah.
Sunday. That's Sunday. $48 general admission. 1937 Club only $879. I say that like it's not that much, but
I have really to think though. Hold on. So. But the 16th, though, right? That would be.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that too. I'm having trouble.
I believe that would be the Skybox 16. Yeah, Skybox 16, which is like a lounge. I'm going to assume that'll be where you're going to want to be at. Those are, says here, $247 on Ticketmaster.
That's not bad at all.
Not $247 to spend a day and just get absolutely obliterated.
On Sunday too.
On Sunday.
That's great. That's amazing. That's honestly amazing.
So think about it. Hold on. So the current resale ticket right now for the Super Bowl is $540.
That's not bad either.
$247 to go sit at the 16th. How far is it to go?
2 hours. I think it's like 2 hours. You can do it in an hour 50 if you move.
So TBC Scottsdale to what even is the arena called now?
I think State Farm. I saw a State Farm commercial where they're it's State
Farm. It used to be the University of Phoenix, but that one obviously, bro, it's a half hour.
That's all it is?
It's a half an hour. Look at this.
Wow, there's gonna be some people doing that. There is people that have set that up, taking the days off of work. They're going Thursday through Sunday, taking Monday off. You better take Monday off. You got no shot.
You literally take Route 101 and you ride that shit all the way down.
That's wild. The people are definitely doing that. There's a lot of people that are doing that.
I mean, obviously, like you have the rich and famous who are gonna like take like their fucking helicopters and shit. But like the idea of that is amazing.
Do you think we see any golfers at the Super Bowl that played in the Waste Management?
Well, I can tell you this. Justin Thomas was at Media Day today. Just doing whatever. Trying to think who else. I know JT was there. I think Max Homa stopped by.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of people were at Media Day. Someone's got to be there. Particularly too, like if you miss the cut.
Oh, no-brainer.
You're 1,000% going to go. Like Tom Hoagie is going to be like, I'm going to go play the Waste Management and miss the cut and just go hang out for the next 3 days in Glendale with his wife. Someone posted something. I want to say it was like a very like Rovell tweet, but I know it wasn't. But like they were saying like, oh, here we go. Front Office Sports tweeted out, this week Phoenix will host the Super Bowl and the Waste Management Open. Per the FAA, the Federal Airline Administration, airports in the area are expecting 1,000 private jets, 4,000 additional takeoffs and landings, and 1,100 additional aircraft parked.
Oh my goodness.
Last year, more than 140 private jets took off from LA in the 5 hours after the Super Bowl. So they're analyzing this to be like ridiculous. Now, also,
1,000 private jets is crazy.
And think about it, too. Like, there's only 3 airports in Arizona.
Yeah.
There's Scottsdale Airport, there's Phoenix International, and there's one in Mesa, which is all the way down by like Gilbert, which is all the way out east. And I think, like, past that, there might be one in, like, Tucson and Flagstaff, but there's nothing else in the Phoenix area. I can tell you that much. Maybe Prescott. So it's going to be loaded.
It's going to be absolutely.
Oh, sorry. There's also a municipal airport in Glendale, which is probably going to get like paid out by every celebrity and their mother.
Yeah, just to land there. Yeah, that's going to be absolutely insane. Just insane.
I like it. This might be the best weekend for a dual sporting. Like it's like even like with golf, it's just a different kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Which makes it 10 times as good. Hello and welcome to the Get in the Hole podcast. Steve McAvoy, Jake Dippold here. Another fantastic week in the world of golf. The Waste Management, or as we're going to call it for the entirety of the day, the Waste, coming to you in Scottsdale, Arizona. TPC Scottsdale will play host to the biggest party in golf. And of course, this episode of the Get in the Hole podcast is brought to you by our friends over at PHI Apparel Co., bringing you the best clothing in the industry for all your Philadelphia sports teams. Their sleek designs, perfect quality is going to have you rocking every single day. We did, in fact, create a Super Bowl t-shirt. Saw them online. KB was like, these are kind of whack. Made our own design shirt. You can go find those at phiapparel.co. Again, phiapparel.co, and use Underground for 10% off your next purchase. You can also get them getting the whole gear, which no big deal. Probably the best stuff on the site. Once again, Steve McAvoy, Jake Dippold here with you. The Waste Management Phoenix Open. I cut you off at that break. I will let you finish what you had to say, and we'll jump right in.
Honestly, I don't even remember, so let's just dive in.
I love it. We have some major drama. This is probably the lamest headline I could ever create. LIVGolf allegedly purchasing property in Augusta, Georgia. Our resident law insider, Jake Dippold, has the story.
So yeah, I dug in a little bit, and I was just amazed at it. I thought there's no way this is true, and evidently it's not even true. So what Liv claimed was that they bought 400 acres for $36 million in North Augusta. They said the landowners wanted to remain anonymous, that they were just dealing it out for an easy $36 million. And then I also found a quote from the North Augusta mayor, who is named Britton Williams. Pretty cool name, pretty southern name, evidently. And he confirmed the landowner's statement. And the landowner's statement was that the family owns the property in question. They're not interested in selling, and they just wish the rumors would stop. That was confirmed by the mayor of North Augusta. So what we have here is a video created by who knows who. We have no idea. I'm sure Liv was involved. I'm sure their marketing team.
Account.
Yeah, I'm sure their marketing team was super involved. Any drama that Liv can get, they will take. And here what we have is a flat out lie, a flat out disengagement with reality, a flat out mayor who is not only covering for the landowner, but saying it is a blatant distruth that any land was sold in North Augusta and that any land will ever be sold. The landowner said, there's no chance we're doing this. I wish it would just stop. And Liv just continues to make drama and continue to say things that aren't even true.
The fun part here is that all this happened shortly following a request from LIVGolf requesting further communication from people like Condoleezza Rice, Stephen Banks was the CEO of Warren Stevens, and people like trying to figure out like the membership qualities at Augusta. And it was denied by a judge shortly after, obviously, they purchased this. They must be trying to get somebody from Liv in Augusta National to be the eyes and ears from the inside, because they know Greg Norman never won the jacket, so he can't even do it. So according to an article from Golf Weekly and USA Today, the cited documents do not implicate in any way the subpoenaed parties, which was Rice and Warren Stevens. Nor do they reflect communications buyer between identified additional targets. Indeed, for the most part, identified targets appear merely as names or lists in other oblique references made by others, which meaning LIVGolf, basically citing that the judge threw out this request from Liv and was like, this is bullshit, and they're a private entity anyway, so we can't even talk about it. So clearly there's something up in the air, but I think it's hilarious that, once again, in Liv fashion, get absolutely dissed by some wealthy landowners, which also 400 acres is freaking gigantic.
Yeah, 36 million too. And are they like expecting to buy this land and create a new Masters? I don't even understand like what the goal is. Even if they did buy it, what's the ultimate goal?
The allegedness was that they had Core Crenshaw ready to build a golf course. So yeah, I mean, I would assume
who cares? You're never going to compete with the Masters ever.
Yeah, but like think about it though. The Liv schedule. I think we've gone over this in the past. Mm-hmm. I don't think any of the events outside of like maybe a few coincide with any actual PGA Tour events. Yeah. But at some point, if Liv gets big, you'd have to think like, oh, why wouldn't we want to put a major event happening the same time as the Masters and try and pry viewership? Or even the week after, make people want to stay in Augusta for another week. Think about it. The city of Augusta makes I think that they make, like Michael Collins said it, like 87% of their yearly revenue in one weekend.
That is insane.
Like it's like a party. It's like a party college town on crack. It's like literally what it is. But who knows? If the rumors are fake, I guess they'll try and figure out something else. The only thing that I know is that apparently they've now scrapped the team final from Trump Doral and are now bringing it back to Saudi Arabia, which will be a fun time. But the one place that they had literally no viewership last time.
And I mean, I can promise that this will not be the last we talk about Liv drama. There is so much more coming. If they're making up lies or at least buying into the lies, because Liv was requested for a comment to be made on this, and they made zero comment. So if the comment kings Liv aren't making a comment, it means that they are involved and they're now have to duck away because of what happened.
Exactly. And don't worry, we're going to talk more Liv in probably about 10 minutes and then again on the other side in about 25. But before we get into that, Jon Rahm, the should-be number one golfer in the world, allegedly, some say, I kind of agree, said this week in his presser that golf courses are feeding people into an obsession over distance, basically saying, and he's been a long-standing proponent of this, that he hates the fact that golf courses are getting longer because of the technology that is being built, which is also kind of strange because he literally supports the company who claims themselves to be the kings of distance in Callaway, but I'll kind of let it slide. What do you make of Jon Rahm's points? Do you think it's accurate, though, that because of the growing technology in the balls and the clubs and everything else, that because golf courses are growing longer, we've seen Augusta get a little longer. We've seen other courses on the PGA Tour get a little bit more lengthened out. Even like Jack's place at Merrifield Village has gotten longer in the past. I went through a giant revamp 2 years ago. Do you think his comments hold true, and do you think it's a problem for the PGA Tour that it is getting longer and that people are kind of feeding into it?
Yeah, I think it's part technology, part guys getting just bigger, faster, and stronger. Like, the technology is definitely insane and definitely crazy, and we're obviously not playing with wooden hickory sticks anymore. But these guys are also insane athletes now. Like back in the day, these guys were drinking, they were smoking on the course, they were throwing back, whatever, and just kind of out there playing to have fun. But now when we're playing with this much money on the line, these guys are legit athletes. Golfers in the last probably 30 years, 35 years have actually became athletes. And that's not misusing the word. They're definitely way more athletic now. And a lot of those guys are crazy, just bigger, faster, stronger athletes. Look at Will Zalatoris, for example. He's had these back problems, but the reason is because he has so much torque and he has so much ability to move and create distance and spin that back around, but it can only go so far. And I think Jon Rahm is so right. I am not a proponent at all of spreading the course out. I am a big proponent of limiting the technology. I think like TaylorMade and Callaway and all this stuff they're creating should be more for the amateur golfer like us who needs it. But I think the PGA should be limited. We see in MLB, they use wood bats. It should be the same thing like wood bats. Let's take away a little bit of distance. Let's take away a little bit of whatever. Maybe raise the greens, or not raise the greens. Raise the rough. Make it a little bit harder in those situations. But dial the equipment back in the PGA. Why are we doing it in every other sport, but we won't do it in PGA?
I mean, they have done things to limit it. Like think about it. The idea of limiting driver shafts, right? I mean, if Jon Rahm wanted to have a 50-inch shaft, and which also out of context, that's terrible. But if you wanted to have a 50-inch golf shaft, he very well could and hit it 355 yards on the daily, but he doesn't. So, like, the PGA Tour is doing what they can, and like, look, the golf ball is always going to evolve. Like, you can't tell Titleist, hey, limit the Pro V1.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, like they pride themselves on always growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And think about it, like the problem is, and it's the same thing. Like Lou Holtz had a great quote. I'm going to link football and golf here. Lou Holtz gave a commencement speech at some small time college in Ohio, and he said, "Look, when I was the head coach at Notre Dame, like we were the number one team in the nation, and we just chose to maintain it. And then once we finished second in the country, everyone was like, oh, you're an idiot.' But like." At the end of the day, he's like, you're either growing or you're dying. So you aren't getting better and stronger, then at some point you're going to fall off. Titleist made the best golf ball in the world in 2000. 23 years later, they're still the best golf ball in the world. And the only reason for it is because every year they're adding 5 yards. They're adding more spin. They're adding more, they're adding all these different elements to it. And now we're only touching the surface with the carbon wood era and this and carbon fiber clubs, that it's only going to get longer and better. And yeah, you're right. Like back in the 30s, Ben Hogan was smoking cigarettes every single round. Now it's like if you don't eat like kale salads every day, you're gonna fall off your rhythm. And like I think Jon Rahm's kind of over exaggerating a little bit with this because first of all, he's one of the longest hitters on tour already. Is it because they're getting longer? Probably. That's like totally fair. You have to acclimate yourself to the situation. But like golf scores have always kind of fluctuated around the same. Like outside of the century last year where we had guys in the 30s, most scores are either between 15 under and 25 under. That's kind of like where we sit every single week, give or take some courses, how they're designed, how they're laid out. And then of course you get lower and lower with the majors, but like that's just kind of how it's been, and it's been that way forever. Even when they were using Persimmon Woods, Ben Hogan and Walter Hagen were winning events at 20 under par.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of everyone's adapting to the times, and the golf course in turn is getting longer because they have to adapt to the technology and to the training and to all these different things. And to be honest with you, when you're the number 3 player in the world and you're already dominating everybody, just shut up. Like, you're already so good at your game. If they shorten it, he'd be even better.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's like, whatever.
I don't really get where Rahm's coming from either. I mean, everyone's playing the same course. It's not like they're only lengthening it out for him. And once you make a good drive, it's the same approach shot anyways. And it honestly doesn't make any sense to me what he's complaining about.
And honestly, like, the difference here, think about it. Like, Bryson reinvented the way to hit the driver, right? But he would hit it 45 yards into Narnia. Yeah. And it's like, all right, cool. You could technically hit a pitching wedge when everyone else is hitting a 7-iron. But what good is it when you're in the deep rough, 45 feet into the woods, and you're running around with wood shots trying to find your ball?
Yeah, and Bryson's such a faker too, because his pitching wedge is bent to an 8-iron. Like he's calling it his pitching wedge, but I can bend my clubs too, and I'll say my 5-iron's my gap wedge, and I'll hit the ball 220 yards. Is it really a gap wedge?
Yeah. No. But like the fact of the matter remains, like, it's Bryson hitting the ball 360 and everyone else hitting it 300. In some conditions, it matters. But Jon Rahm's already hitting it, I think 305 without the bounce. So at that point, like, what does it even matter? You're already top 10 and top 10 on the tour, and like, who's your only competition right now? Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy. You got to hit it farther than them anyways if you're gonna win. So it's all the same shit. He kind of just has to take a deep breath and just enjoy the events while he can. This week, though, it's going to be a very different story. 18 of the top 20 players in the world competing this week. We're going to talk more about the designated events in a hot sec. But speaking of Bryson DeChambeau, finally, the LIV Golf drama is rearing its ugly head. Of course, if you've been living under a rock for the last 8 months, LIV Golf's been unable to get official World Golf ranking points, and therefore, Bryson finally is set to fall out of the top 100 for the first time since 2017, since his sophomore year on tour. DJ is falling out of the top 50. I don't think Cameron Smith fell out of outside of the top 5 quite yet. Let me double check that. But he's 4th right now. But at some point, Cameron Smith will fall off. However, of course, they are getting points from playing Asian Tour events and playing DP World Tour events. So guys like Cameron Smith will probably stick around, but Bryson's falling out. DJ's falling out. Sergio and Ian Poulter and all of them are most certainly falling out, and at a pretty heavy pace. Taylor Gooch, when he moved over last year, was 30th. He's now down to 40th. Trying to go down the list here to see who's fallen more. Patrick Reed is still somehow in the 60s, which is kind of funny. Kevin Na, Louis Oosthuizen in 63, 65. So a lot of these guys are sort of, well, Brooks Koepka is the 71st golfer in the world. Like, pretty ridiculous when Brooks Koepka, who, by the way, won this event this week twice, is in the same kind of grouping right now as Davis Riley and Christian Bezuidenhout. By the way, $5 if you could spell Bezuidenhout right now.
Bezedan?
No. Bezuidhout.
Oh my goodness!
I didn't even look at that. I promise.
Wow.
I just know that.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, so Bryson and DJ are falling out. Bryson also dropped his deal with Cobra recently, so he's now back to the free agency grind. But like, what does this mean? Like, are they going to ever get back? I mean, the majors and a few European tour events really aren't going to do it, and DJ hasn't even played since I think like the Open. So DJ is like totally removed from all of that, making all of his money off of Paulina and her daddy. But what do we think? Is LIV Golf going to somehow find its way back at all?
I mean, I don't even know what the rankings are supposed to do at this point. Are we just going to and I hate to play devil's advocate, are we just going to let these guys fall to the rankings? Like a guy like Patrick Reed who played Rory that close, and trust me, I have written 5 articles in the past week about how much I don't like Patrick Reed. But like, are we going to let him just fall out of the top 100? It doesn't become a true ranking. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, but like equally, look, the rankings have their faults, and we made and you and I have made it abundantly clear already how we already have our own rankings to begin with. But like at the same time, though, like they don't fall under the criteria to earn points. Now, granted, should they have this rapid decline? Probably not, because they are still top players in the world. But at that point, like, you have to almost remove the criteria as a whole and just do kind of like not even like how like the MGA does like a handicapping system, but like maybe you use like a handicapping method or something like that. How over your last 8 rounds, depending on how you play and depending on the results you play in whatever events. Now, granted, of course, Live aren't playing in sanctioned events per se, but at some point you have to reimagine these things because it doesn't seem right that Dustin Johnson is out of the top 50. Brooks Koepka is the 71st golfer in the world. Again, like Davis Riley is on a different planet than Brooks Koepka, and in a bad way.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean,
like, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, every course has a slope rating, and every course has a handicap translation.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why we can't do it like when I enter a tournament and I have to turn in my handicap, it's adjusted to the course.
Yeah.
It should be the same thing with these PGA courses and these live courses. I would guess most PGA events, the courses are a little bit harder, but we can adjust the handicap based off slope. So why can't the rankings just do that? You know?
I mean, in an ideal world, yes, but at the same time, I really, to be honest with you, I don't have an answer. My bigger question actually now falls down to if they fall out of the top 100, right? Live for months early on would tout, oh, we have the 30th ranked golfer in the world. What's going to happen now? Like is the marketability A, and B, the watchability, knowing that you have no top 100 players in the world playing, with probably the exception of Cameron Smith at a certain point, like, where does the marketability now fall? I mean, it's already obviously battling for views from the PGA Tour, but is it going to just kind of drop off dramatically now because everyone's like, oh, they have no true talent, quote unquote, from the casual point of view, knowing that no one's in the top 100?
I mean, yeah, your only shot now is name recognition. Like, I mean, if you're not a pretty big golf fan, I'd say at least an above average golf fan, you probably don't even know who Taylor Gooch is. You know, like they have maybe 7 guys, 8 guys if you count Pat Perez because he's fun. Like they just don't have the name correlation.
Yeah.
You got DJ, who I'd say most people know because he's on the Perfect Practice putting mat box. But like the average golf fan, you're not going to get a true golf fan to the Live to watch Live. You're just not going to do it. So you're trying to grab that average golf fan. And how many people do you think on Live the average golf fan knows? Maybe 7?
So, actually, I was thinking about it the other day, and I'm going to, I'm going to skip ahead just for the hell of the argument here. So Phil said this the other day, and I think it's fascinating. He said that Liv would dominate the PGA Tour in a Ryder Cup style match, and I couldn't not think of the people that would actually be involved in this event. So I did a little digging, right? And this is what I came up with. I believe, I really hope I've got it. Yeah. So, hold on. I actually don't have it. God almighty. So Dylan Dethier, who works for Golf Magazine, put out a tweet about what a Live Golf versus Ryder Cup matchup would look like. So for Team PGA, Rory, Rahm, Scheffler, Xander, Cantlay, JT, Finau, Morikawa, Homa, Zalatoris, Spieth, Fitz, and your captain's Tiger. You, even as the casual golf fan, should probably know at least 3/4 of that roster. You probably might not know Matt Fitzpatrick. You might not know Tony Finau. And very, very, very slight chance you don't know who. I would say probably Xander Schauffele. Or actually, no, Patrick Cantlay because he flies under the radar. Yeah. Well, you should know everyone else. Schauffele's an Olympian. Scheffler, Rahm, and Rory are tops in the world. JT, everyone knows who he is. Morikawa is a household name. Homa's the Twitter guy. Zalatoris is the skinny legend. Jordan Spieth, and Tiger's Tiger. Live then, Cameron Smith, DJ, Joaquin Niemann, Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, Louis Oosthuizen, Abraham Ancer, Taylor Gooch, Patrick Reed, Paul Casey, Sergio Garcia, Ian Poulter, and your captain's Phil. The casual golfer will know Cam Smith, DJ, probably Brooks, definitely Bryson, and maybe Patrick Reed.
Yeah, just because maybe Ian Poulter. I might just because of his pants. Like because he dresses weird.
Not even that. If you know Ian Poulter and not Sergio Garcia, there's a problem.
But I mean, like nowadays, I feel like more people will know Ian Poulter just because he dresses weird.
But Sergio has the accolades to back up. Like he's a legend.
Yeah.
So, but again, no one would know Joaquin Neiman because he's 22 years old. Like he's a baby. Taylor Gooch, really good, but a baby. Abraham Answer didn't get his first win until Southwind this past year, and then fell off the map because he went to live. Paul Casey's over the hill. He's done. Louis Oosthuizen hasn't. I mean, granted, he's had a bunch of runner-up finishes, but outside of his Masters appearance, does he really have any more than that in terms of the overall knowledge from the casual side? Again, the top 10 golfer in the world, the guy who won the green jacket, in the COVID year, because it was the only sport that was happening at the time. The two meatheads who bitched and moaned at each other for 9 months, and then Patrick Reed, who's America's villain, and then Phil. Congratulations, Phil Mickelson because he does some Amstel Light commercials.
Anyways, and he just lost about 300 pounds in the last couple weeks.
And also, he has a really bad gambling addiction. So,
he does.
So, that's all you know. Like, if I ask my girlfriend who's sitting on the couch right now, hey, what golfers do you know from this list? She could probably tell me almost, for the most part, a lot of the guys from the PGA Tour side. And that's even with the fact that I talked to her about golf, and she has no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And then, I mean, even looking at it, like, let's go matchups. Rory versus Cam. That's a close match. I mean, I don't think you can really call it either way.
Right now, it's Rory.
Yeah, right now it's Rory. Rahm versus DJ. Right now it's Rahm, 100%. Scheffler versus Neiman. Scotty, no-brainer. Xander versus Brooks. I think it's Xander. I haven't seen Brooks play good golf in a long time. Cantlay versus Bryson. Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah.
JT versus Louis.
It's JT. Easy.
100%. Finau versus Answer. That's Tony. Tony's form is awesome right now.
Morikawa over Gooch every day.
100%. Homa versus Reed, not even close. Zalatoris versus Casey, not even close. Spieth versus Sergio. I think Jordan Spieth's playing great golf, but maybe you sneak one with Sergio because he had a couple good rounds.
That's the one point that Liv could get. That's it.
And then Fitz versus Poulter.
Fitz is miles ahead of Ian Poulter. And again, think about it. We're debating the 10th best, quote unquote, golfer on the planet against Ian Poulter.
Yeah, it's and then Tiger versus Phil. They're both kind of falling apart right now, so I don't really have any idea.
At that point, you might as well get the geriatrics out at that point. But
exactly.
Then you dig even further and think about like the substitutes and the guys who are behind them. We didn't even talk about
who's 11th on PGA Tour.
Tom Kim.
Yeah, that's wild.
Victor Hovland. Sam Burns, Cameron
Hovland.
Young.
Wow.
Sungjae Im, Hideki Matsuyama. Like, oh my God.
And then you're going to get some no-namers on Liv side. Like, I couldn't even pick one to be 11th right now in my head.
The next guy up, Jason Kokrak, Kevin Na.
Yeah, and Kevin Na's been washed up since 2004.
Get Pablo Larrazabal.
It is. Yeah, it gets bad with some substitutes. It gets really, really messy.
Like Richard Bland? No. Hell, I'd probably take Ricky Fowler against half these guys.
No, I'm not even kidding. Like, in his form right now, 100% Ricky Fowler.
I would take Scott Stallings or Keith Mitchell over Jason Kokrak. I would take Mackenzie Hughes, Taylor Montgomery. I'll take over these guys.
Andrew Putnam.
And then of course, like Harold Varner would tee it up for Liv or like Mito.
Yeah, one of those back end guys.
But like even then, you want to dig down the list. I can go to Sahith Theegala. I can go to Kevin Kisner, Corey Connors, even though he can't putt for shit. Chris Kirk, JT Poston. Like, these are still really good golfers.
Yeah,
I think you put them against Ian Poulter, they could win a match.
I mean, and what we're seeing right now is that PGA just still dominates. Liv is definitely gaining a little bit of momentum, but PGA top to bottom, it's not even close.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, that's just simply just how it is. And like, I'm sorry, but for Phil to say that is just absolutely ludicrous. We are so far into this thing, we have so much more to talk about. Justin Rose wins the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. I lost a really bad Sunday bad beat. We're going to talk all about that on the other side and give you all of our picks and thoughts on the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Again, Steve and Jake here on the Get in the Hole podcast. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the Get in the Hole podcast, sponsored by Ty's Baseball Tees. Ty's Baseball Tees is the online t-shirt shop that is all baseball. Ty's Baseball Tees is the place for top quality baseball merch for the baseball enthusiast. Get your tee now at Ty'sBaseballTees.com and get 10% off your purchase with discount code PITCH10. And don't forget to follow them on Instagram at Ty's Baseball Tees. This episode is also sponsored by Walk Off Wood Custom Wood Bats. Walk Off Wood is your one-stop shop for all your wood bat needs. Adult, youth, fungos, you name it, and they've got it. Jump online to wellbats.com and start customizing today. Steve, we got our guy, Justin Rose, ending his 4-year drought in the winner's circle. I got to hear about this bet.
On Sunday, it was about 2 o'clock. I had just gotten home from hitting golf balls. Looked at the leaderboard. And I'm like, Denny McCarthy has made 5 straight birdies. This might look good. Justin Rose is old, and Peter Malnati, I've never heard of him before. So what do I do here? He's plus 2,000 on the odds board, and I'm like, I have to take this, right? I checked my my account. I've got I have $25 in free bets that expired that night. So I'm like, oh shit, I gotta play something. Put $5 down on McCarthy for about 8 holes until about like the 14th. He's leading or is one back of Rose. It goes back and forth. Now Rose has the back line to play, and McCarthy's on like 14, and they suspend play because of darkness. I'm like, all right, Monday finish. Do I hold on to this bet and hope like Justin Rose wakes up like with like a kink in his neck the next morning and he loses it? He won by 3 strokes. I could have cashed out for $30. I got greedy. I rode the wave. But then again, like it was $5 to win like 200. So I'm not like it is what it is. Free bet. But very unfortunate with my Denny McCarthy bet. Should have also known though, like he was gonna finish the round and Rose would have like 8 to play. So like something was bound to happen. Yeah. And I knew it was downhill though once Justin Rose made eagle out of the bunker on I think it was like 7 or 8. Really bad tee shot, bunker shot, fairway bunker from like 230 yards, just ropes a 5-iron up the hill and lands it to like 10 feet of the pin. And I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna nail this. Then again, like Denny McCarthy was hitting like 20-foot putts like it was nothing. And again, I always joke, Corey Connors can do everything but not putt. Denny McCarthy cannot do anything but putt. And he proved it. He played amazing. But yeah, so he lost, and it was a tough bad beat, unfortunate. But Justin Rose ending that 4-year drought might be vying a little bit. Now, like, I'm not one to run down odds boards and be like, oh my god, after one event. But yeah, if Justin Rose can put together a few top 30s, top 20s, in Augusta history, he is the second best putter all time, only behind Jordan Spieth. And every single year I've bet Justin Rose the Masters, and every single year he does not disappoint me. So might be like one of those like backdoor top 10 guys if he continues to grow a little bit. And like we see guys in that like age 36, 37, 38 time, all of a sudden kind of put the pieces together. We saw it with Sergio a few years back. Yeah. Saw it with Lee Westwood when he was getting older. I don't know. Might be seeing something. We'll see.
And I think for them to be scoring like that in those crazy conditions is just unreal. And it shows
so bad
how
this week
good,
too.
like how good at golf these guys are to be scoring in those conditions. And for Justin Rose to be up 3 strokes going into that 18th hole, I just can't imagine what that feels like after playing that miserable 5 days of golf. Like that is horrible conditions, raining, nighttime, can't see anything. And then he's just strolling up to the 18th green with a 3-hole lead. I mean, I think our guy Jay Rose is back.
I also did take him as my wild card this week.
Yeah, it's
this past week. which I didn't even bother to calculate the numbers yet because Trey Mullinax WD'd, and part of me was like, how do we rank this now?
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but we'll debate that off camera and figure out if I went 3-0 or not. All I know is that taking Justin Rose as the wild card, my wild card picks have been on fire to begin the year. So really excited with that one. Turning over the things across the pond, St. Andrews, after about a 3-day span of people just absolutely berating them, have decided to remove the brickwork or the stonework that was done around the Swolcan Bridge following a social media buzz that has literally put the golf world into a tizzy. The reasoning behind it was to, quote unquote, help maintain the structural integrity of the Swolcan Bridge while not disturbing the actual structure. It's, of course, 400 years old. They were doing it for erosion purposes in case anything happened. And by law in Scotland, once something is over 100 years old, it is considered a national landmark. So you cannot touch it without the country's approval. And so this was the grand idea was basically get rid of all of the dirt because you literally could not grow grass there just because it's always walked through.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, oh, well, let's put a stone patch. And also Twitter was blowing up with like memes of like the hot tub in the little like circle. It was very funny, but people were going crazy. What do you make of that?
I mean, my initial thought was just someone's drawing a mustache on the Mona Lisa here. It is absolutely horrific that this was approved by some higher up, a couple higher ups that made a decision. Oh, let's throw some stone on this national monument that everyone in the golf world can associate. The background on my computer is the bridge at St. Andrews. It's been the bridge of St. Andrews for 4 years now. And do I have to switch the background on my computer to throw the new stones in there so I have the most recent picture? Like,
may have to.
This is literally, it's like Amen Corner at the Masters. Could you imagine if they like knocked that bridge off and just put like a little wooden plank going over to the other side? It's mind blowing that anyone thought this was a good idea.
It's actually like really ugly too when you think about it. Like I'm looking at it now and it's just like, why is this like a thing? Like I'm gonna pull up the image here in a hot sec, but like, oh my goodness, like what like just like a bad talk about like a bad beat. This was a bad beat, like by a wide margin.
It was so bad.
Like let's pull this up here for everybody who is interested in viewing for the public. Right here. We'll share that and we'll get rid of our little background here. Yeah, that was what the bridge was on the left and what they built for a little bit. Just really ugly, honestly.
Stupid. It just looks stupid. And I'm pretty sure like anyone can play St. Andrews. Like you can you can just like go on it and walk it at nighttime. There's like that side of golf and that type of golf world in Scotland. You can just walk on the course. People walk their dogs on St. Andrews. It's absolutely insane.
It's amazing. I kind of love it, actually.
Oh, I'm all for it. I am so bought into it, but it's just so hard for our American minds to wrap around.
But just thought that was really funny. And now with that being said, let's get into the fun stuff. The Waste Management Phoenix Open plays host to of course, the Waste Management Phoenix Open taking place at TBC Scottsdale. It's been a long day already. Had a long day at work, but we're here now. Let's get into this. Before we get into the actual discussion of the waste and the field, who we're looking into, and of course our bets that'll come on the other side, I found this question that was going through golf Twitter the other day and was kind of debating things. Obviously, this past week, Pebble Beach, the number 7, the iconic hole, the short little pitching wedge, par 3, got me thinking. Again, we're gonna have the best 2 months of golf in like stretch ever, right? Pebble Beach, we're gonna have obviously here at the Waste. We're gonna go to the Players. We're gonna go to Augusta. Hole in one. Would you rather make an ace at Pebble, the Stadium Hole at Scottsdale, 17 at Sawgrass? I'm gonna even throw in 14 in Amen Corner. What's the hole that you'd want to make a hole in one at?
I started to think about this a little bit, and and I wanted to go away from it, but I think it's a no-brainer. 16 at the Waste Management. Just the stadium atmosphere, how amazing it would be. There's truly nothing like doing something in front of a huge group of people. Hitting a hole in one at Pebble, like there's some patrons there, but like there's not like this crazy explosion. If you hit a hole in one on 16, it is something that you will feel and hear for the rest of your life, and that makes it a no-brainer.
It really like came down to me on 16 or 17 at Sawgrass, because when you think about it, obviously the stadium hole is enclosed, so everything is kind of like maintained in the noise after there. But like there is a ton of people at Sawgrass, like because like right there, it's the hill that comes down and everyone's watching you there. So like there's noise, but I think because of the stadium atmosphere of 16, it automatically becomes so much greater.
No,
I think that's what makes 16 elite, and I think that's why this week is probably the best event of the early February, January like swing of golf, because again, there's nothing better than the greatest. They call it the greenest show on grass. We call it the greatest house party known to man. So I'm gonna join you on the 16th at Scottsdale, the stadium hole. With that being said, the Waste is presenting us with a very fascinating situation for the first time in recent PGA Tour memory. Now, obviously, with the rule changes that came this year, came the introduction of these designated events, which by Jay Monahan's definition was basically a ploy to get golfers to go to certain events that already drum up a lot of attention, or some that don't. And one of them, the first one this year, is in fact the Waste Management. 19 of the top 20 players in the world are going to be here, with the exception of Willie Zalatoris. Just about everybody, for the most part, in the top 50, that isn't the few guys that are constantly on the European tour, are going to be here this week. It's going to be an absolute show, and the PGA Tour knows that now. They have a sports book open in Scottsdale. It's the Super Bowl. This was calculated. They knew they were going to do all of this.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of pros and cons to all of this. One of the cons being that no one really played the AT&T Pro-Am, obviously, because who wants to play a 6-round golf event with Alfonso Ribeiro, who isn't named Jake Dippold? But also, equally at the same time, though, no one wanted to go there. People wanted to buy. Obviously, Rory went. Jon Rahm went last year. So, like, guys aren't playing the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. But if you don't play there, you're forced to come here, which, I mean, isn't really a bad thing. It isn't like it's a punishment. But, like, you think about the idea of, like, designated events. This is one of them. The Genesis is going to be one of them. You look at like Bay Hill is going to be one. A lot of these events happen in a very short span while you're kind of leading up to Augusta. And it isn't really privy to a lot of these guys to play in these events, because you got to play here, then you have to go to California for the Genesis. You don't got to play the Honda, but it's highly encouraged, one of the hardest golf courses to play on. Then you get a week break. You got to play at Bay Hill. You basically don't get a break then for almost 4 weeks, because you go from the Players to the Valspar to the match play. You get a week off for Punta Cana. You have to play the Valero, and then you're playing the Masters. Then I'm pretty sure you have to play the RBC Heritage, and then most guys will play the Zurich. That's what 10 straight weeks you're going to be playing golf for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of shit. That's a lot of golf, and a lot of these guys aren't really for it. Do you think the pros and cons? Do the pros outweigh the cons? Starting here with the Waste Management, in terms of the fact that guys are going to be playing in, yes, what is an incredible event, but could we see a lot of burnout from a lot of these guys in that 5 to 6 week time span?
Yeah, I think it's great that we're getting the best guys at a really fun and cool event. I hope it's still as fun and cool as it usually is. With this being a designated event, comes with designated money. And are we still going to have the same feel from Max Homa? Are we still going to have the same feel from guys who want to go out there and have fun? I don't know. I hope so. But with this being a designated event, do you get more ranking points from designated events as well?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's another thing. Elevated money, elevated emotions, elevated anger from our guy, Jon Rahm, who we know likes to get angry sometimes. And I just hope it's still as fun as it usually is. And I wish that these elevated events were still in the same price range as other events. I think it's great that we're giving more money to golfers and these guys deserve it, but it makes it more than other golf tournaments. And I know that kind of sounds like I'm being like a traditionalist saying that, but I just wish all of the tournaments felt the same except for the majors.
No, I agree with you. My biggest gripe going into this was the fact that we're gonna dish out $20 million, right, at the Waste Management, at the Genesis, at the RBC Heritage, at the Memorial, which the Memorial is a little different because like to me it's the majors, it's the players, then it's the Memorial, then it's Bay Hill, and then it's kind of everything else.
Yeah.
Because the majors have their own feel. You go to Jack's place, you go to Arnie's place, and it's the players that like those three events are basically like your 5th, 6th, and 7th majors, realistically.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to play. Everyone wants to win at the Memorial. Bay Hill's one of the hardest golf courses to play at, and of course, it was designed and owned by Arnold Palmer. But then it's the next tier, which is again those events that everyone knows: the RBC Heritage, the Waste Management, the Genesis, the Honda Classic. But like, first of all, there's burnout. But why are we paying $20 million to these events when the winner of the Masters is only going to get 15? Like, you're almost overshadowing the idea that the majors are what makes golf. Like, think about it. ESPN has a contract to have digital coverage of the PGA Tour, which is going to show you like the featured group of the day, which last week was Harry Higgs and Russell Knox, and then a stream for the 7th hole. And the Masters. That's it. That's all they get. Like, people pay for the majors. That's the buy here. And like, yeah, I mean, they're still going to get buzz because it's the majors. But I'm going to put more pressure on myself then to go in the Waste Management than I am to go in Augusta.
Yeah,
so I can make $5 million more. And then on top of that thing, just like, not to get political, but like the taxes. Like, I can make $5 million more, and yeah, I'll owe a little more in taxes, but I'll still come out with them with a higher net sum. Like, works for me. So, like, that's what I don't like about this whole thing. And yeah, we're gonna get the best players in the world, but they also like the schedule. I've had a problem with the schedule for a long time because forever the biggest problem has been from now until I would say. I would say probably until the U.S. Open, maybe the Memorial. This is the best golf we get from February through the end of May or through the middle of June. Because after the U.S. Open, with the exception of in that span, like the Mexico Open is a snoozer, Punta Cana is a snoozer, the Puerto Rican Open is a snoozer. Like, outside of that, you're getting almost all the good majors. And then after that, it's like the Rocket Mortgage, the John Deere, the Barbasol, the Scottish Open, the 3M Open, the Wyndham. Like, no one cares about these events. It's kind of like the season dies in June, and it picks back up for a week at the Open, and then for 2 weeks in August. That's it. Like spread the schedule out a little bit. Make the RBC Heritage in late July. Like, make better events later on in the year. Yeah, it's going to cause a little bit. It's going to cause traveling issues because obviously we go from California to Florida to California to Texas back to Florida, and then you have 2 events in the Northeast, and you go to Illinois, and just like they can travel, let them travel a little more. Like, yeah, you can have your California swing, but we've already played for 4 weeks in California. The Amex, the Farmers, that's kind of enough. Let's go to Arizona. Let's go to Texas. Let's go to Florida. And then you could fly back to California for 2 more weeks. I think it just works that way.
Yeah, and I feel like PGA's buying into the LIV mindset.
They are.
If these guys only cared about money, they would be playing at LIV. These guys care about winning the majors, and that's why they're still here. So don't try to make 12 majors. That's what I feel like they're trying to do. Like, they're trying to create this feeling where there's 12 majors, but it's never going to feel like that. All you're doing is buying into what LIV wanted you to buy into. So I just don't understand why PGA can't understand that and stick to what they're good at and stick to having a lot of great tournaments, a lot of great fields, and then you have your Masters. and your championship and your majors, and that's what really matters.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, and I think it's kind of ridiculous that this is going to be a problem. And you're right, they're trying to join up or like adapt to live, but they're doing it with this at least in the wrong way. We're gonna take our final break here. When we come back, prop bets and beer money this week at the waist. Don't touch the dial. We've got a lot of information still to come right here on Get in the Hole. Final half hour. I call it the power hour. We got a lot of stuff here. I kind of stole that from one of my favorite shows, the Power Hour, which is You Better You Bet, my boy Nick Costos, but I think he'll forgive me. Prop bet time brought to you by our friends over at Pickup. Pickup. Play the headlines. Get started today at Play Pickup. And you can, oh God, you can, I'm sorry. I'm eating a cookie and I almost just like choked on it. Anyways, Pickup. Play the headlines at Play Pickup and take some winnings on your props, tournament to cash prizes, and other fun prizes as well. Jake, before I just like say something else stupid, your prop bets this week, anything you got?
Yeah, so I got two. First, I think it's a no-brainer going into the waist. We got to do hole-in-one on the 16th. And I don't know if it's just me wanting to get excited, but I'm going to hit the over on that one, Steve. How about you?
Now, there's a few overs on the hole-in-one market. You're saying there's one hole-in-one in general?
On just a hole-in-one on the 16th.
Okay. So there are multiple sports books. Now, like, this is the best week of betting on golf. Thankfully, my girlfriend has her headphones on, so she can't hear me say this. The weeks following up to the Super Bowl are when I bet the most. Because I either lose all my money or I gain enough money to then burn it all in the Super Bowl. Which is actually a really unhealthy and toxic way of thinking about it, but like whatever, I don't really care.
If you have a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
In New Jersey. In New York, it's it's like 8 Hope NY, whatever the hell it is. I have no idea. But yeah, so this is the best week of gambling on the PGA Tour. The odds aren't necessarily great because they know how loaded it is and how much everyone wants to bet on it. But the prop markets are really where you win. I have 4 props. I'll give you 2 now, one of which is hole-in-one on 16. On some sports books, you could bet for more than one hole-in-one. We had that last year. You could bet for just one. A certain green sports book, it has odds boosted to plus 300 for a hole-in-one.
Wow.
Now, usually the odds are higher, but just because it's a waste management, they're going to blow it down a little bit. But it's odds boosted to 300. I can get it at 300. You could probably get it a little higher at some other places. But I think that's a no-brainer. I've also got 2 head-to-heads. I'll give you one now. I think this is going to be the week. Now, the sports books have Rahm as your outright leader, as your outright winner. He's like plus 700. They have Rory plus 850. I'm sorry. I think the ASU factor that John Rahm went to school in Arizona and he's a bit of a local guy. Technically has his residency in Scottsdale. I think that's kind of pushing him over the edge. But we cannot ignore how good Rory McIlroy is. I'm going to go head-to-head. Rory over Rahm this week. Yeah, crazy play. Look, you got to realize, like, John Rahm's been amazing, but Rory McIlroy also has 4 wins in his last 8 events. And 3 of them came in major scenarios, too. Like, not to mention, like, just incredible golf from Rory McIlroy. So I will have Rory over Rahm this week. I'll go to you, and then we'll come back to me.
Actually, you just stole it from me. I had Rahm versus Rory matchup, but our guy over here is hammering the Rambo. Hammering the Arizonan absolute menace. John Rahm is dominating Rory McIlroy this week, Steve.
You know, the one thing that's really kind of gotten me here is that I don't know if you know this, but the past 2 weeks, Rahm's actually lost strokes on approach. And this is a premier course for stroke gained approach. He's never finished worse than 16th in 7 tries. However, McIlroy has just been incredible, and the one time he's played it, I think he finished 13th. So already kind of has a little bit of a track record. Their form honestly couldn't be better, but I just think Rory is a little bit better. Two guys who haven't played in a few weeks. I really like Tom Kim over Cameron Young this week. Tom Kim is just a better approach player. He's showing the putter has been a little stronger. He isn't as long off the tee. However, one thing that this golf course promotes is bombers. We've seen it in the past. Brooks Koepka's won here. Scotty Scheffler has won here. Sahith Theegala hits the ball 800 yards. Guys who hit the ball really far tend to win on this golf course. The par fives are incredibly gettable. If you aren't making birdies on the par fives, you're giving away strokes to the field at that point. Tom Kim overall better game right now than Cameron Young. I'll take the Tom Kim over Cameron Young in the head-to-head. And then finally, a little make-the-cut parlay for you, plus 300. And the fact that all four of these names, they bunched them together on almost every sportsbook is ridiculous. Max Homa, Tony Finau, Sahith Theegala, and Jordan Spieth to all make the cut this week, plus 300 in the tournament prop market. That's what I'm going to go with there. Now, we're going to transition over, but first, I want to discuss a little bit more about what it takes to win this week. Because again, for those of you who are really looking for bets, this week is kind of a premium for a lot of players. Plus, you can also get some good money early on, assuming you're looking for some bets for the Super Bowl. Bombers win here. Like I said, a lot of guys really play well here. Par 71, 7,200 yards. It really isn't a hard golf course. It's actually pretty simple when it comes to putting and chipping and everything. The short game is pretty easy. Par fives, again, really scoreable. And guys who win here usually have 3 or 4 eagles on the week. The par 17 following the stadium hole is a really gettable par 5. The third hole is a gettable par 5 as well. Rory, in my opinion, should be the favorite here. Like I had said, it's why I'm taking the Rory over Rahm here. Another prop bet you could be interested in. 15 of the last 16 winners here have won by 1 stroke. So you could very well go under 1.5 for deficit in terms of stroke or plus a half probably in that regard for a certain player. Lots of water. A lot of guys are going to be pretty daunting for the most part because just about every single hole has water except for, I believe, like the first 3 and the 18th. So that's really kind of what you're looking at this week. But with that being said, we're going to transition right into beer money, brought to you by our friends at Kenwood Beer, Philadelphia's #1 light beer. Again, guys, the Eagles are in the Super Bowl this week, and you can tailgate right outside of the link with some good old Kenny's. I'll be rooting for the Giants just to watch the Eagles lose. I already have the Chiefs money line at like plus 130 right now. Believe me, right now, if you're watching the show and you're looking at bets, someone's taking money by Sunday. It's 1.5 right now to the Eagles. I think someone's going to be taking money. We might see a pick 'em, but I'm most certainly rooting for the Chiefs. Shout out to all you Birds fans. We're going to lead it off here. Top 20, Jake. Who are you taking at the waist?
Guy who hits it an absolute country mile, putts it super, super well, and I think that gets put on display here this weekend. I can't his odds for top 20 yet, but he's plus 1,000, top 10. So that's Wyndham Clark, and that's got to be what, probably plus 650, plus 750, top 20. I think that's a great value pick.
Yeah, you know, I am loading up the card this week with a lot of like safe plays just because of the strength of field here is the largest it's ever been. Actually, I'm curious. I'm like dying to know what LIVGolf is saying right now with strength of field, because think about it. We haven't had this heavy a field in a very long time. Let's see what's LIVGolf strength of field.
What's the max number on that LIVGolf strength of field?
It is quite high. Hold on. Do we have a number here on this or no? They might have not released it quite yet. However, what I can tell you right now is that the Waste Management last year was rated as the 10th hardest event behind Bay Hill, the Tour Championship, the Open, the CJ Cup, Travelers, Genesis, BMW, the Players, St. Jude, the US Open, and the PGA Championship. This year, there has to be some sort of measurement here. Waste Management strength of field. No, that's a SWOT analysis on the freaking company. I don't want that. God, we're really blowing off the bets right now. Waste Management strength of field. So there's literally like no tweets about this, which is kind of ridiculous.
It's probably because it's so high. They don't even know
That's
how
the
to
thing.
react to it.
Like, yeah, like 23 of the top 24 players in the world are going to be here. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So the strength of field this week is up towards like the 400s, which is like a uber obscene metric. Like
That's
this
actually wild.
like according to Kyle Porter, yeah. Here. In terms of ranking, strongest tournament fields in the world according to the official World Golf rankings since September 1 of last year. The Phoenix Open is 379 points. The Amex was 306. The Farmers was 274. The CJ Cup was 272. So, like, just in general, an absolutely ridiculous number already off the bat. I don't even know if they've really announced what the number is going to be, but just nuts.
What is like the Masters? What is the Masters field right now?
The Masters last year was like 330.
Wow, so it's less.
Yeah, like traditionally, like some events are just absolutely insane. Like the Masters is good, but like you also have guys like all the guys returning and they kind of bring it down.
Oh, so like it's like you're almost your outliers hurt you on the bottom end. That makes sense.
But like this is like something we've never ever seen before. Anyways, with that being said, like because of the strength of field, I'm going to be going with a lot of guys that are closer to that like top of the board, and like I hate doing that. I love going with value, but I just simply can't push myself to take someone who's like a Wyndham Clark so far out when I can go with a bit of a safer play and someone who is much better. Yes, albeit at a lower number, but Sahith Theegala at plus 210 for a top 20, that's a home run. Like you're not going to get some of these guys at plus money ever. And to get Theegala at plus 210, and then obviously goes higher as you go. Even like looking at like top 10s and top 5s, like these numbers are going to be like crooked numbers for guys that are this good. So I'll go with Theegala top 20 this week. Top 10, what do you got?
Top 10, the West Coast kid is going to absolutely eat this environment up. I hope he's not drunk for round 2. That's Max Homa at plus 240.
You're going to hear about Max Homa in my bets in a hot bit. But I'm taking Tom Kim here, plus 260. Again, you're not going to get a top 10 golfer in the world at plus 260 at any golf course in America, except for the Waste. So
we love Tom Kim. We love Tom Kim. We love Tom Kim.
I fucking love Tom Kim. Top 5. Where are you going?
Top 5, super value here, I'd say. Plus 600. 2-time winner at age 24. Sungjae Im. Plus 600, top 5.
You know, you have much better value than me. One guy who I will personally be betting outright and will hopefully net me a lot of money before kickoff. But I'm going to take him top 5 here because again, the number's too good. Colin Morikawa plus 360.
Wow.
Yeah, just good number.
Wild for Colin Morikawa.
Like usually you'll get like top 5 as like plus 700 traditionally for like guys in the like middle of the pack. But again, the Waste Management is just a loaded field. He's like 8th on the leaderboard. 360, I think, is a really solid number here. So that's where I'm going to take it. Again, shaky with the putter, but this year has been really good. So I think we could really see Colin shine and get his first win of the year. Your gimme pick this week. Where are you going with that?
Gimme. Get your money and get out. Minus 105, but throw $10 on there. Throw $20 on there. Jon Rahm, top 10, is absolutely not missing. Just not missing this weekend.
I'm gonna ladder my gimme. I'm gonna take it top 20, but I might also ladder it and try and railroad it a little bit for a top 10. Max Homa top 20 is plus 120. Top 10 is plus 260. You put it together, all of a sudden you get plus 600 odds.
Wait, Max Homa is top 20 plus 160?
Yeah, well, 120.
I mean, that's wild. Like that is wild.
Like you aren't gonna get Max Homa at that number ever. None of these guys, in fact, are you gonna ever really get this number at? And again, like I have multiple guys that I'm gonna be playing outright. Homa very well could be one of them. I also think, honestly, for the hell of it, might throw money on Max Homa hole-in-one this week. Because if there's one guy you feel like it's destiny to hit it, it's him.
Yeah, his ball funnels in. It's just gonna funnel in.
Yeah, like Max Homa might not be able to leave the golf course after 16. he'll shank one 80 yards into the water on 17. Doesn't really matter. He'll be cocked if he hits a hole in one. The security team's gonna have to like drag him to the next hole. Your winning pick at the waist. Who's getting us money before the Super Bowl?
Shout out our guys at LIVGolf for this one. No free sponsors, but shout out LIVGolf. There are more approach shots from 150 to 175 yards at TPC Scottsdale than any other 25-yard range, which is our guys' bread and butter. He hasn't played here since 2020, where he finished T25. But Steve, this course fits him perfectly. You talked about him a second ago. The approach shot, that little spot. We saw him kind of fall apart at the Century, but I think he recovers. Colin Morikawa at plus 2,500 to win this golf tournament. Plus 2,500.
Again, I don't want to be the guy to take the odds leader, number one, but plus 850 for Rory just seems right. Comes in here, well rested, ready to go. I think Rory takes home the win. He hits the ball fucking 8,000 yards. He will bomb the shit out of this golf course. He will make 7 eagles this week, and he'll walk away with a one-stroke win over Colin Morikawa, who I will, in fact, be also taking outright. Just to kind of give you guys other outright plays that I have. Colin, I got him in a little late to the party. I got him at plus 1,600, but like Jake said, 2,500, 100 was a wild number. Other guys that honestly could very well win. JT, Patrick Cantlay, again, Max Homa. The one guy who I'm really interested in and is going to be my long shot play, quote unquote long shot. Hideki Matsuyama is plus 4,000, and it's ridiculous. That's like a Brian Harmon number for Hideki Matsuyama, and it simply shouldn't be that way. So he's someone who I'm really looking at. Cameron Young is plus 4,500, and then one guy who I have way out. JT Poston's 100 to 1 on some books, and then Webb Simpson is, wait for this, plus 12,000, 120 to 1. Webb Simpson.
That's wild. Yeah, I'm seeing Tommy Fleetwood here at plus 8,000 as well.
Crazy.
I think that's absolutely insane.
Like very doable numbers. Also, Tony Finau, by the way, from top 10 on, plus 190, plus 360, plus 1,800. Tony Finau, again, has won 31% of his last, he's won 31% of his last 32 outings.
You want to hear a guy who I think
that number's totally off. Sorry, he has 4 wins in his last 32 outings. I'm dumb.
You want to hear a guy who I think this could be absolutely crazy, but I think he's playing out of his mind and his form is crazy. At plus 18,000. Plus 18,000, Andrew Putnam. He's contended. Yeah. He's contended a couple. I don't care about this field. If he's playing good golf, he's going to contend.
He really has. You're right. That's a good play there. Now, Jake, to finish the show off here, of course, we got to make those wild card picks. Our plays this week. I am confident that my team will go out and get yet another win. I don't know if I'm 3-0 yet. I'll check that after the show here. But of course, as the guy in the losers bracket right now, I will let you take your one wild card pick before me. Choose your fighter.
Oh, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to go Aaron Wise.
Good. I'm taking Hideki.
Wow.
If anybody wins this event, it's going to be Hideki Matsuyama, and it's going to be a way out there play. Hideki's going to give me a top 10 or a top 5, and I'm just going to rub it.
Your wild cards have been absolutely insane, Steve. Absolutely insane.
Which honestly, and again, I picked Justin Rose as my wild card. He won this past week. I took in week 1. Who did I even take? Was it Andrew Putnam? Finished top 10. So, or I took somebody else. I don't even remember. All I know is that Hayden Buckley missed the cut. But if 2 times the charm is right, and I happen to bet on Matsuyama now instead of betting against Justin Rose, maybe I'll win and I'll have a lot of money before kickoff to just burn on the Chiefs money line, like Chris Jones sacks.
Yeah, just prop the Super Bowl. Prop it.
Before we go, props for the Super Bowl if you have any.
I'm going to go first TD, Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown.
I have 2 props that are home runs. You can put it in the book. I have a colleague, a old friend of mine, used to work at ESPN. Knows guys on the inside, not like prison, but like inside of like media centers. Will have somebody record Chris Stapleton's anthem and will let me know what the over-under is. Right now, though, I am predicting the over at over 2.5 minutes. Every country artist over the last 20 years has gone over, and Chris Stapleton has turned Tennessee Whiskey into a 16-minute song on his concerts. So it seems like it's only plausible that he just has some ridiculous like guitar solo in between the anthem. And then final bet, which again, home run, 11 of the last 12 Super Bowl performers, the opening song of their concerts it will always be the opening song of their show. Justin Timberlake's was Filth, that hit. Katy Perry's was Roar, that hit. Dre and Snoop Dogg, the next episode. Rihanna is going to open the Super Bowl. I'm going to sprinkle some pizza and beer money. Stay and don't stop the music. That is going to be my home run bet. And I will go live on Twitter when it happens and go, I told you so.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Rihanna, I'm getting in on that. I'm getting in on that for sure.
There is nothing better than fucking Rihanna props in the Super Bowl. Oh my God. I like the fact that like prop markets like this are a thing is like what makes me a degenerate. Also, if you want to make a live bet, the last 8 Super Bowl teams to win the coin toss loses the game. So
yeah, I saw that. That's crazy.
Just live bet whoever doesn't win the coin toss, which I'm hoping to God is not the Chiefs. We'll find out.
It's insane.
Folks, that's going to do it all for us here. Steve McAvoy, Jake Dippold, another great show. Thank you for joining us here on the Get in the Hole podcast. The Waste Management Phoenix Open this week, and then, of course, the Super Bowl. I'm going to be on this Saturday live stream discussing my prop bets for the Super Bowl on the Underground Twitter account. Be on the lookout. I have probably about 40 bets right now in my booklet. I will narrow them down. A couple more that I'm eyeing that you should look out for. Ladarius Sneed sack, first sack plus 700, and Super Bowl MVP Miles Sanders or Isaiah Pacheco if it happens. Isaiah Pacheco, by the way, the Vineland kid from KB's hometown. That's going to do it all for us here on the Get in the Hole podcast. Enjoy the Waste Management. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll be back next week for the Genesis Invitational. We're going to Riviera, and oh my God. Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time. And remember, get in the hole!